What would you change if you could about your childhood?
Is there
If
like
anything,
an age range?
If not, just about your childhood in general. If anything, you might have just had the life, and some people are comfortable enough to say, you know what, I won't change anything because it led me to be who I am.
No, I would change something. I would change. I don't know if it was me changing. Or I would like my father to have given me more credit of the things he taught me, because he was so strict. He didn't want to let me go. He didn't trust his knowledge that he gave me for me to say, okay.
You saying he didn't think you absorbed it and could have
He thought
put it into work?
I was going to get in trouble. Pregnancy. That was his whole thing. Don't get pregnant. Don't get pregnant. If you get pregnant, you're getting out of here. Where am I going? It was a scare tactic. So if I had to change anything about my childhood, I would like to have changed the way I was brought up so strictly. Because you know what my nickname was when I used to go outside? Like when I was on the other side of town by my school? Jailbird.
Why?
Because I never could come outside. I went to live with my aunt when I was in high school. So I was over there from Monday to Friday, and then on Saturday and Sunday I would go back where my dad was, and my home there. And I couldn't do anything. So I believe that the reason I couldn't is because he didn't trust me. He didn't trust that I was smart enough to know at this age I'm not getting pregnant. I'm not going to be doing drugs. I'm not going to get into child foolishness.
So you would change, you would want him to...
I wish that he would have trusted me more. I would have liked to have been trusted. Because for me, you're saying what would I would have liked to change? I would have liked to have been trusted by him more because he was so strict.
Okay.
I had to fight with him and my grandmother just to be a cheerleader. Because he felt like if I was going to do flips, the dress was going to come up and you're a cheerleader. You're flipping. That freaked him out. But my girlfriend Carol that I told you about, she wanted to play tennis. And her father wouldn't let her play tennis.
Because of the skirt? Because
it was a boys' tennis team. And she was one of the only females on it. It was for school. It was a school tennis team. So that's why I said we had fathers in the home, and the fathers were like looking at you like this, like every day, like give me a break.
But on the flip side, imagine if all these little girls had their father at home looking at them like this. It'd be a different world.
Sure, maybe.
I mean, definitely would be a different world for the positive. More fathers in the home make a difference.
I mean, my father was very careful because he was, he was a person and he had friends. He didn't have many, but there was never any males coming in and out of that house. He never had a male friend of his.
Because he had his daughter
in our home. The one friend that he did have, his name was Red. He's passed on too. And, my father was like a cologne guy and he used to get dressed. So he was upstairs and his friend, you know how you have your friend over and you'd be like, man, sit down here, have a drink, set up the ice and let your friend wait for you.
Mm-hmm.
I come downstairs at 13, fully developed. And, I go to walk into the refrigerator, but his friend was sitting at the table. So we had a big kitchen. And he's like, hey, how you doing, Renee? And I was just like, yeah, like, hey, I'm thinking about you, old man. But my father could creep. Like, it was like a ghost walking. You wouldn't hear him come down the stairs, and we had wall-to-wall carpeting in our house, so you couldn't hear footsteps. So when I looked up, my father was standing in the doorway of the kitchen. But this guy, who was over this way, was probably looking at me with the eye that a man would look at a woman.
Yeah. So
my father just said, man, meet me outside. I'll meet you outside. So he went out to his car. That was the last time I ever saw that motherfucker. I never saw anybody. My father never brought anybody. My brothers weren't allowed to have boys in the house either.
Smart man.
So I lived life almost like a caged bird with no freedoms that I saw maybe some other girls getting.
But did you ever try to, as an adult, did you ever think back to look at it through your father's eyes?
Now I definitely do.
Understand what
They were my cover.
Okay.
Now I get it.
As long as you recognize eventually.
Sure. No, I got that when maybe stories were coming out about, oh yeah, my uncle molested me, or somebody did something to me in the house, and I'm like, damn, how'd that happen? Because I'm like, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
I mean, I had uncles, or my cousins were were boys, you know, my brother's age. But it was a different kind of family life. They weren't mentally disturbed. I mean,
Lucky. What's a constant worry you had growing up that you felt helpless in resolving? Did you ever resolve or come to letting it go as an adult?
a constant worry.
For example, kids are in the house, they see the parents struggling, but you're a kid, you can't do nothing about it.
I didn't have any.
Nothing at all.
I didn't worry about anything. I just didn't. I mean, there probably was a lot to worry about.
You just didn't know.
But I just was like oblivious to it.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that shit. What do you like best and least about yourself?
What I like least, I'll start with that, is that my niceness can easily be mistaken for a weakness. And I think that, I don't know if it's a sharpening I need to do with certain individuals and not extend myself. While I feel that it's good to extend yourself, I think that's my weakness, extending too much to the wrong people. And that I would like to change. But then that becomes me having to look more carefully at who I'm dealing with. And sometimes I slip. Especially when it comes to men, you know, they're a nice person. And then they turn out to be not so nice. So maybe not examining others the way I should before I extend my
give
kindness.
People the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Too much.
Okay, what do you like?
The best?
Best.
That I'm a good writer. And everybody that wants something written,
Grammatically
ask me.
or
grammatically.
Or artistically?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I like that.
Do you have anything written that you've shared with the world?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
A poem, a couple of poems.
They're published?
One, but not the others.
Where are they published? Maybe somebody
Poetry.
Check it
It's I think it's poetry.com. It was published in the 80s.
In the 80s? Wow.
Yeah. So that I like about me.
Maybe we could find it and put a link in the video for the people.
I can get that. I have it home. It's on a plaque.
Okay, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good thing. Did you have any hobbies growing up as a kid?
Many.
One, for example?
Roller skating.
Okay.
Cycling. I used to be able to cycle on the Olympic level. I mean, I was great at it. Once I got my 10-speed, because, you know, that was the thing back then, that was my car. So I was, like, going across town to see people, and I was riding back and forth. But we used to me and my girlfriends get our bikes and just go, like, biking. And it was on a cycle, an Olympic level that I could actually bike. Wow. So what else was there? Music was my big thing.
Like listening to music, like collecting records, and concerts maybe?
My first concert, I was 8.
Really? What'd you go see?
Sly and the Family Stone, Parliament.
Wow.
The Staple Singers, and the Stylistics in Arkansas, in Little Rock.
Wow.
And to see Parliament Funkadelic on stage at 8, I thought Martians were landing.
I was going to get there. I was like, what did you imagine
It was like
that was?
the most amazing, craziest thing ever. And, you know, I didn't understand people smoking. But, you know, my mother was there. My mother was smoking. It was my mother's sister-in-law. And they were smoking. I didn't know about that stuff, but everybody was, like, smoking. But it was good. What other hobbies did I have? Drawing. Everybody in my family draws.
Okay.
I had a lot of hobbies, a lot of different things I used to do.
Nice. Tell me a funny story or situation involving you.
A funny story? My entire life.
Okay,
it's a funny story. A particular funny story where somebody actually would laugh?
Yeah. Or something you thought was funny.
I mean, is there an age range to it?
Nope.
Okay, I'll tell you a funny story. That's kind of spiritual. We, growing up, parents, my grandmother, they taught us to believe in the rapture. So you're aware of the rapture,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. So one day, my husband, my son, and my stepson we would all get ready for work and school. And they don't really read the Bible like I do, you know, in terms of like the belief. I think you and I maybe had a conversation or two on that. So I'm upstairs, and usually I could hear everybody downstairs, but I didn't hear anybody. And I remember my grandmother always saying, "You'll be gone in a wink of an eye." You know, this is the stuff you hear growing up. So I went downstairs. I didn't see anybody. I didn't hear them. I didn't see them. So I said, I know they didn't get raptured and my ass is still here. There's no way.
I was waiting for you to say it. I was like, I know shit.
And I was like, what the hell? And so they were actually out in the backyard in the car.
You thought you missed the bus?
And I was like, there's a movie called Left Behind.
Oh, with Cameron.
Yes, and
James
I was
Cameron.
like,
Not James Cameron. Is it Kirk Cameron?
Kirk Cameron.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know my ass ain't left behind. So when I heard them out in the backyard, I was like, phew. So when I went outside and I told them that, they were like, oh, come on, Mommy, come on, are you serious? But I thought that was funny.
What's funnier than that is you're the only person on the planet I've ever met that mentioned that movie. I thought I was the only
Left
person.
Behind?
I thought I was the only person that's seen it.
Yeah, no, it was
There's
serious.
3 parts to that movie. It's crazy. Okay, last question for this segment. What was your favorite food as a child? What's your diet like now as an adult, and what brought on this change, if any change?
My favorite food as a child growing up, can I have more than one?
Yeah, of course.
White Castle. String beans and potatoes. My favorite food of all is Italian cuisine.
Okay.
My diet is still kind of, I say kind of, because I had the high blood pressure. So I toned it down because I like fried chicken.
Yeah. And
my diet right now it's good. You know, I eat fruits, I eat vegetables all the time. So the changes is like where I would eat White Castle once a week. Now maybe it's once every 2 months or something. Because I just like it. And I think it sparks a memory within me, which is why I like it. Because when I was little, my father got off late. So he used to bring White Castle home to me and my brothers.
Nice.
So, you know, my
you
mother...
have a nice fond memory of the White Castle.
And every time I eat it, I think about how my mother used to complain because I was little and she didn't want to wake me up. So she would get mad at my father because
waking you up with White Castle.
He's like, go get her. I don't care. She's putting on White Castle.
Not knowing that who knows how many years in the future you'd eat it occasionally.
And now I eat it and it's just like...
Just a warm hug from your dad.
Yes. Yes, so White Castle.